Welcome to the new episode of Full Tilt Throwback. I'm your host, Big Chris. Joining me today is Adam Christ, or as I know him, Boogie.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing, Boog?
I'm all right. I'm good.
So how you been during the pandemic?
Not bad. Obviously missing wrestling. Not being able to wrestle sort of as regularly as we normally do has been driving us a bit mental.
Yeah, me too.
Aside from that, all good though.
Nice one. So we're going to talk a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background and how you got into wrestling, things like that. So my first question is, do you like wrestling?
If you'd asked us, that at the start of the pandemic, I'd have probably said no because I was still hating it. But I will say, since the pandemic started, I've probably watched more wrestling than I had done in like the last 10 years before that. So to answer it now, I'd say yes, definitely. Yes. I'm bang back into it.
Right. So we're going to start at the beginning. Yep. Right. So how old were you when you first started watching wrestling?
Well, as I've been told off my brothers, basically, that I've watched it since I was a kid. I've no memory of it because, like in the 90s, it was still on Sky, and we didn't have Sky. We were poor. But yeah, but no, I was certainly aware of wrestling, like going all the way back to being like sort of a Ben. But I think first time I started watching it properly would have been about 98, I think.
Right.
So I'd have been 10 or 11 years old. And then I didn't start sort of watching it regularly until maybe a year or two after that.
Yeah. So who was your first wrestler to get behind?
Mick Foley, I think straight away, without a doubt. Certainly the first one that stood out properly. I think him and obviously Austin. Everybody knew Stone Cold at the time, you know.
So when did you first start wrestling? Because you started wrestling with IWF.
Yeah, that's right. So I first started training there. That would have been early 2003 or end of 2002, beginning of 2003. The dates are a little bit muddled. But yeah, started with IWF. Literally just one random Sunday afternoon, found out there was wrestling training going on in Gateshead and decided to go along with a couple of mates.
So what was your first session like?
It was cool. It was a bit different because we were in a Gateshead Leisure Centre, so there was no ring up or anything. It was all mat training and sort of learning how to take bumps on a crash mat kind of deal. I do remember, I think one of the first like sort of moves, as it were, that we did was it was doing cross bodies for some reason. We did, we just like all basically had to line up in front of a crash mat, and we were showing how to take a clothesline, how to take a back elbow, how to do a crossbody, and how to take one, and then literally you'd just swap in and out. There was about 9 or 10 of us.
Yeah.
And we did that for about 3 hours.
So who did you go to the first session with?
It was obviously me, Glenn, Robbie Ryder, Conda, Max Heat, and my cousin, who I think he jacked it in about 6 months later. But there was 4 of us. Like I say, I think that helped as well because we all sort of knew each other anyways, and we're all obviously sort of teenagers banging into wrestling, and then to find out there's wrestling going on somewhere. Yeah, we all went down as a group. We trained together.
Together. Well, yeah, I would give anything to have like a young you, Glenn, and Connor to walk through the door.
Exactly, you know what I mean. Like sort of three or four of were all like dead keen and like proper up for it. I mean, it was good, and it definitely helped, especially sort of early on when you haven't a clue what you're doing.
Yeah. So I mean, how long were you training before you had your first match? Like I don't mean like gym show match.
Yeah, like proper, like sort of on a show kind of match deal. I think it was about a year. I'd say a year to about maybe 14, 15 months. Again, the dates are a little bit muddled in my head, but I know it was. I think it'll have been 2003 or 2004, and it was Kingston Park Rugby Club.
Nice.
Yeah, great debut venue.
Nice.
Kingston Park Rugby Club. It was a gauntlet match, and I was the first guy out. And I believe I lasted about 2.5 minutes, maybe. No offense at all, obviously, because at that point I could just about take a bump and follow instructions. But I was in with Brian, so Assassin, absolute total pro when it comes to having to deal with.
Hello, Assassin.
Having to deal with useless newbies like me all the time.
So, I mean, what was the what was the crowd like? Because I mean, back then, were the shows like full or were the?
It was
Because IWF like ebbed and flowed really. Didn't
yeah,
it?
it was a classic case of small crowd but smaller venue as well. So everyone, well, I wouldn't say small crowd, average crowd, but smaller venue. So it looked like it was a bigger crowd. I certainly felt like it. I mean, bearing in mind I was sort of just turned maybe 16 at the time, so and being on a wrestling show, so I was buzzing. There could have been 10 people sitting, and I wouldn't have minded.
So I mean, in the IWF, you were you a main event?
No. Well, not to begin with. It took a bit of time. It eventually,
but
got
like
there.
you sort of were like start out with like high flying kind of stuff,
Yeah,
and then
because again, like you say, sort of me, Robbie and Max, and Woody. Hello, Woody.
yeah, I Woody, Jesus.
We all, like I say, because we all started out training together. We were the junior academy. You had us. You had Little C, Harry Payne. Obviously, these names will mean anyone to anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about.
Oh, it means something to me. I know.
Yeah, but like I say, we had they had a roster, and then we had a junior academy as well, and there was at least sort of, like you say, anywhere between 8 to 12 or 14 different sort of lads who were not quite ready for main shows, but there was enough of what to put on like training shows and gym shows and that sort of thing. And it meant that even though we weren't always necessarily working the main shows, we were still getting ring time and we were still having matches against each other and getting comfortable working together.
Yeah. So I mean, when did you first like win a belt in IWF?
That actually took a lot of time. I think, if I remember rightly, first belt I won was the tag belts with the Flower Child, Johnny Hogarth, my old tag partner, and running mate. Hello, Johnny, as well. They're not listening, it's fine.
It's like a shout-out episode this
I know,
week.
crazy. It's just rattling off all these names, you know, it's like, blimey. But me and the Flower Child, we were the team with no name. And
I'm guessing that's Lee Kyle's
yeah,
work.
of course it's Lee Kyle. Of course it is.
So hello, Lee Kyle.
You might as well get a shout out as well. But so we won the tag belts, and we didn't hold them that long as far as I can remember. Sort of couple of shows maybe. I think we won them back at one point because that was the thing, is we were feuding with Paulie C and Robbie, the New Age Asbos. So I'm sure we dropped the belts to them, and then we got them back, and then we dropped them again, and then and all that kind of deal.
So like before we start talking about like FTW and stuff like that, you did have actually you wrestled some big names in IWF. So you were wrestling when you were like quite young and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, like for me, it's like how do you feel about like obviously like the scene, because you've been around for a long time, but you've been one of the like the better wrestlers, if you understand what I'm saying.
Well, you're kind, thank you.
Well,
but I get what you mean.
So
though,
so like normally if like someone's another promotion's booking someone, they'll get you in and you wrestle them. So I mean, like what's that like? Sort of, is there like pressure there to always like perform?
Where there is and there isn't. I mean, on the one hand, I like it because, like you say, it keeps me on my toes. And again, it's always given us sort of someone new to work with. And on the other hand, though, like sort of there are times when sort of maybe it's not, I wouldn't say I'd have a bad match, but certainly a match where I think, maybe I could have done that better. Was it me? Was it them because they're new, or because I'm nervous, or that kind of thing. But no, more often than not, I'm happy to just throw my heat in, go for it,
So like, do you want to drop some names of who you wrestled?
All right, then. Have you got like a clanger every time I mention a name?
I think it's one of these. I don't know. See,
you don't know which
everything.
You don't know which button it is on the desk
I keep
that does
breaking
that.
things. So
all right, well you just.
That's not. So how then drop some names?
All right then. Where do I start? I think if we're just talking about IWF at the minute, I think obviously the biggest name was probably working with Tracy Smothers, late great Tracy Smothers.
Yeah.
I mean, especially thinking back to it now, I have watched the match fairly recently. I dug out a video player because I have it on VHS.
Right, if you don't know what a VHS is, ask your grandma and granddad.
Yeah. Google it. Anyways, but no, like watching it back, it's clear like sort of I was still this, green kid basically being guided through this match with like, Tracy Smothers, an old workhorse, and he knows exactly what he's doing, and he still managed to get 50 minutes out of us. But like
50 minutes.
50 minutes that match was.
Yeah, I love you, Boog, but 50 minutes.
50 minutes from start to finish, I shit,
Is a long time.
Oh yeah,
especially on an indie show.
And this is the thing though. This is what was so great about Tracy Smothers and why I won't hear a bad word against him, is because he basically toured the UK for like 3 or 4 years, and he was doing like those length of matches pretty much every show he was on. Like literally, he did. But this is why he's so smart though, is because like literally you'd have 10 minutes of sort of stalling and crowd work at the beginning. Right. You'd have a bit of a lock-up, maybe a bit back and forth with some technical, and then there'd be like an eye gouge or a hair pull or something, and there'd be another 10 minutes of stalling. But Tracy was the master of working that crowd. Like, absolutely. He had them eating out the palm of their hands, and I will show anyone that bloody videotape if they doubt us. Like,
well, that's where we're going to find someone to play it.
Yeah, well, fair enough. But that's why I say he was a genius, because he knew how to work a crowd and how to get them, like I say, eating out the palm of his hands by doing next to nothing. I mean, literally, we had 20 minutes of doing a dance-off.
Hence why I called Boogie.
Yeah, well, there you go. But yeah, and like I say, just watching it back, you can tell. Yeah, I was clearly green and maybe a little in over me heat, so to speak. But I'm proud of it, and I definitely enjoyed it. And I would do it again. It was worth it for the experience. And just to learn how much a man can swear in a wrestling match. 50 minutes is a long time when you've got an angry southerner from sort of Tennessee yelling at you.
Well, I think I could probably give it a go.
I'm sure you could.
I love swearing. But anyway.
We'll move on from that.
So we'll start talking about like FTW.
Yeah, okay.
So I mean, like when FTW first set up, you're one of the first people that I got in touch with, really. Because it was like, for people that don't know, is when I first started, other than like Paulie, you were one of the first people to like train with us, get in the ring with us. And you basically just like kick the shit out of you for about 6 months until I was ready to have a match. But like I always felt like you didn't get enough credit, so I was like, well, if I'm gonna have my own wrestling company, I want Boogie.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about like some of the matches that you've had. So I mean, when the first like sort of idea I had for you, I was like, you like doing these hardcore matches? I was like, let's do like a whole King of Hardcore thing.
Yeah.
And just to be honest, I didn't really have we didn't have an end set up.
Oh no, not at all.
I was just like, some way or how this is going to end up with Boogie wrestling Chris Renfrew.
Yeah.
So the way to get there was through Kaylee Ray.
Yeah.
I would say up until like Kaylee Ray, the hardcore matches were like sort of just like normal.
Yeah, just standard sort of
hardcore
safe,
matches.
Family-friendly indie show hardcore match.
Yeah. And then obviously when we got Kaylee Ray in, like I was totally down with like, do you know what it is? Well, you can wrestle her in a match. Like, and I think like the main thing was I was like, I hope she's going to be all right in the match with Boogie.
Oh yeah.
Little did we realize that she was going to kick the shit out of you.
Oh yeah. Well, this is the thing, is like sort of I've worked with lasses before. I've wrestled a couple of different lasses like in one-on-one matches as well. But it was always the other way around. It was always sort of, be careful, it's a lass, you cannot hit her too hard and that. I mean, in reality, in all those occasions, every single time, the lasses have always said, just fucking hit us. It's the classic rule of, I'd rather get hit than you miss completely and look like a tit, But with Kaylee Ray,
it still was a decent match. They went all over.
Like, I'll be honest, like sort of Kaylee Ray, I'd heard of her, but I'd never seen her wrestle. I didn't really, outside of sort of hearing a few whisperings about a couple of matches, I didn't really know who she was, and that was fine. But within like 5 seconds of the bell ringing, I knew exactly what I knew exactly what her deal was. Like sort of the first lock up and the first few hits, I was like, right, okay, this is going to be good.
Yeah. Well, I love that match, and for me, it was probably one of the reasons why I was like, well, I think Boogie needs to be on the path to being the champion and things like that. Because I was like, and like I say, after that match, I was just like, we'll get Renfrew down.
Yeah.
And you're all for it, and Renfrew as well. Hello, Renfrew, if you're watching.
Aye.
He was like amazing, down to earth and that.
Oh yeah.
But then, well, before we get to the match,
right, go on.
I picked him up at the train station, and we just started chatting, and he was basically like, "All right, so what are we actually doing in this hardcore match?" I was like, "Oh well, we've got some stuff that you can have a look through, see if you use it. But I've got this one thing I do want you to use just for a joke." So it was like a little tea trolley.
Oh yes, that thing.
And basically all I wanted to do was wheel it out it was the Sandman with
a shopping trolley or something. Yeah, that sort of thing. Instead, he comes out with a tease made, basically.
So he was like, yeah, whatever you want, we'll do in that. So I've left him to plan the match with Boogie. So remember that story for when Boogie goes on about the match.
Yeah, okay.
So then we'll get to the match. So tell us about the match.
Okay, so again, like you say, obviously you'd book the match with Renfrew. Again, he's someone who sort of I vaguely knew. I'd seen him on. I'm sure he'd done another show in the Northeast a couple of months beforehand. But again, he's someone who I was only sort of vaguely aware of. And I had no idea, sort of just the level of intensity it was gonna be in that match. I still say now, though, I'd do it all again, absolutely in a heartbeat. I'd probably regret it now, but I'd still do it again.
I don't think I could watch it. I don't think I would watch it. My heart was in my mouth the whole match.
Aye. But no, so again, Renfrew, like you say, proper down to earth straight away. He was like, sort of, well, what do you do? You know, what's your sort of style? What moves do you do? And we're going through this big cachet of weapons that we've got. And we're walking through, and he mentioned the wooden trolley thing, and we were looking at it, and I'm starting to knock the bottom of it, and I just sort of looked at him, but I think we must have both had the same thought, and I was just like, you've got to smash that over my head, mate. No one's going to see it coming. And at first he was sort of, will it not hurt? Is it not going to? Because it was a wooden panel for the trolley bit, but then a metal frame with wheels on it and that. And he was like, well, I'll whack you with it. I'll swing it into you, and then we'll see where we go from there. Of course, when it comes to the spot in the match, straight away, beamed us in the gut. I go down, and then I saw him picking it up, and I was just like, right, brace yourself, here we go. And if you watch the video, if you watch it on YouTube,
well, the link will be at the bottom of this episode. So
if you watch it on YouTube, when he picks up the trolley, you can see us wincing. You see us pulling my shoulders in and that, because I'm trying not to get the frame caught around my shoulder blades.
Well, for me, that took us out a bit, because I was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
I was like, is this being planned? What?
Yeah, because again, like you say, it was something nobody was expecting it.
But then it was sort of like the chops.
Yeah,
and when I say this, it's not like what's it called, hyperbole. Hyperbole.
Oh.
It was the loudest chop I've ever heard in my entire life.
Oh yeah, it was like a frigging gunshot.
Yeah, and I'm sure the very first one, Boogie's spirit left his body.
Yeah.
Because I think it was me, Bry, and someone else backstage.
Paulie, possibly.
And we were just like, what
was that?
Fuck? So then we were just like, we were just in shock, because obviously at the time in the Northeast, there hadn't really been them kind of matches for a long time.
Not really, no.
So there was I would say really garbage, hardcore matches.
Yeah.
Where it was just whacking stuff for
there was no pace to it, no plot.
But this was well executed. Was just, I think it was something a lot of people hadn't seen before. So they were whoa,
where's this come from? This is something else.
And then again, if you watch the video, which would be at the bottom of this episode, when they get the kendo sticks out.
Yeah.
And he's hitting you with it. Now, to me, it looks like there's like mini charges in that stick because it's just like as he's hitting you, like bits are just
The whole
exploding.
it's like bloody shrapnel.
And it looks really, really like I don't think you could have planned that.
No, not at all.
Well,
it's one of those things where like sort of it was like the perfect storm of things happening at once because the canes we were using, they were only made from like bamboo from B&Q and gaffer tape. But the other thing is...
No, they were real kendo sticks.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But the other thing is that they were old as well. We'd used them on a couple of shows before, so they'd already been cracked and broken in. So like the first whack, sort of, I felt it break. And then I go down, and again, you'll see whipping away at us, and there's like you said, bits and pieces flying off it and that. And then it's the big one when he hits us over the head with it, and the whole thing just shatters.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It looks like fireworks.
And it's like it's one of those things you couldn't have planned it better. And then the best part is the not the ending of the match, but the last thing I got hit with.
The iron.
The iron, yes.
Right. So again, there's another story to this.
Yeah, go on.
So his whole run of having hardcore matches, that iron got brought out in every single match.
And it never once got used.
Yeah, it never got used. And then you were like, I'm going to use it. And I was like, well, keep it for... like,
something, yeah.
Keep it for a special occasion, if that's even possible.
Yeah.
So obviously... a lot of the fans that were there, they'd been coming for like the whole run.
Yeah.
So as soon as they saw the iron, they were like, plug it in.
Exactly. Plug it in.
Which you're a bunch of cunts.
Yeah, thanks.
That's for one.
Like, plug it in, use the iron, go on, hit him with the iron. It never happened, and then...
Yeah, then he hit you with the iron.
Yeah, basically. But what's great about that, though, is that is probably the only thing in the match we didn't plan. It was literally a case of he'd smashed a load of sticks over us and he had nothing else to use.
I honestly thought you were dead.
Yeah. Well, Renfrew
I didn't know
said...
how you weren't bleeding. Like, honestly, like, because... like, as well, just so everyone knows, it was an actual iron. It wasn't...
Oh, no gimmicking to it whatsoever.
The only thing was the plug had broke from, like, all the, like, overuse of it.
Yeah.
So it was a real iron, and he hit Boogie with it so hard that he broke the iron. And
he really did,
madness.
Like I say, it was as well the only thing we didn't plan in the match. And Renfrew says, well, he picked it up and he was saying, I can't hit him with this. I can't hit him with this. I'm hitting him with it. And then all of a sudden he's sort of like trying to plan it in his mind, waiting for us to turn around. I've got no idea it's coming. I've got a vague inkling that it's going to happen because of the cheer that went up from the.
Did your spidey sense start tingling?
From the five lads sitting in the corner, who were shouting, use the iron all night. As soon as they perked up, I thought, something's going on. Turn around. Honestly, I didn't feel it.
Yeah.
But I think by that point, like I was the adrenaline. I mean, the adrenaline had kicked in off the first chop. If truth be told, I think that's how I got through the matches because I couldn't feel a thing.
So what was worse? Was it the iron or the Molly's kiss? Because if you watch the video, that looked like it fucking hurt. A Molly kiss, by the way, I think it's like a tornado. Missile drop kick from the top rope.
Yes. Straight to the drop kick in the chin.
Yeah, and again that looks vicious.
It's all in the head snap.
So I mean, like after that match, obviously you had a few more with Renfrew.
Yeah.
But I think probably wasn't like as big as that one.
No, I think it's one of those things where because obviously we'd only planned on at that point having the one match. It was a case of we threw everything we had into it, and I think in many ways we're probably peaked with
Rushed
the first.
too quick,
it's like sort of it's one of those things where looking back on it again, I think we did the matches the wrong way around kind of deal, and it's sort of the second match I did enjoy the second and third matches. I mean, they hurt a lot more because again we had to sort of do bigger things than we'd already done, and it's like I've already been smashed in the face with an iron. Where do I go from there, kind of thing. But again, it was simply because at that point we had no idea we were going to do another match. We didn't know how this one was going to turn out.
Yeah.
Once we'd done that one, it seemed stupid not to do a rematch and do another.
But
thing.
I mean, like before we announced it, like I thought like it might get people's attention, but then I didn't realize like how much people wanted it, because they were just like, well, Boogie's known for like having hardcore matches and things like that. And then I think most people had heard like bits and pieces about Renfrew, so they were just like, oh, we want to see this. And I think I even said at the time, I was like, I feel a bit shan of like giving you this match now, because they literally want you to kill yourself. Well, fun to top the last match.
Fun story for your listeners actually is Chris did come over to my house the next day and apologise. He came over, saw me limping around in the house. He was like, "I'm sorry, I put you through that." And I was loving it. I was just like, "I'm fine."
I think I brought some cookies or something.
Yes.
So we'll move on a bit now. So obviously, as well as being like hardcore champion, you were the heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
And you had some title defenses as well, being heavyweight champion.
Yeah, a couple of good ones.
How long were you champion for? Was it just under a year?
I think so. I'll go with that. Yeah.
I can remember there was at least.
I held it. I could tell you the show I won it at and the show I lost it at, if that's any good.
Where did you win it?
So I won it at FTW for the Win Leighton. Best name ever, by the way.
Oh, I used to pick mint names for shows as well.
Yeah. So FTW for the Win Leighton, whenever that was, because we did the big 6-way scramble match, I think, and we'd done like qualifiers all night for it. I enjoyed that night actually, because again, me and Robbie worked together the first match, to qualify for the main event. Me and Glenn have always had good matches together.
I love wrestling Glenn.
He's so easy to work with.
My favourite match against Glenn is where he beats us for the Alpha Prime briefcase.
Yes.
I've got no bones about it. Like, literally, all I wanted to do was have a good match.
Yeah.
And Robbie turned it into like a great match.
A mint match, yeah.
So,
no, that's what he does. So yeah, I was already in a good mood because me and him had a cracking match in the first half, and then the 6-way, it was a little bit muddled, but it was a lot of fun.
Like all 6 ways.
Exactly. A 6-man match like that, there's going to be bodies flying everywhere, and it's going to be absolute madness trying to keep track of it all. But that's the thing is, with matches like that, with the right group of guys, like regardless of whether it's good or bad, everyone just enjoys themselves.
Yeah.
And everyone comes back with a smile on their face, buzzing away.
I enjoyed that show as well. I think it was a good show. That was the first time I ever went there as well, wasn't it? So, what about your last title defense?
So, won it, like I say, at the Win Leighton show. Lost it at the Thomas Wilson when we did the War Games match, or the for copyright reasons, not War Games match,
but War Games like match,
but War Games-esque, shall we say? But it was 3-on-3-on-3, so 3 teams of 3. The tag belts were on the line in that as well, and the heavyweight title. And it was a case of whichever team got the win picked up all the belts, and my team didn't, and I lost it.
Now, I must say, like, I didn't book that.
Yeah.
I'm just distancing myself from that. I didn't book it.
I know, fair enough. No. I mean, in fairness, again though, it was good. It was a good run, and it was a good match.
So, we'll talk a bit now about like if you had control of FTW. So, we've done this a few times. So you can pick any point in time in FTW history. It can be about yourself, or it could be about anyone else.
Yeah.
But you've got to take them from point A to point B. So, if you had control of FTW, what would happen?
Well, I think since we've talked about it, I'll go back to the Renfrew feud, because it coincided with us being heavyweight champion as well. Because this is where it got interesting. Is that sort of we did the first match, and then I ended up with the FTW title. So that when we did the rematch, it was for that belt as well. And then by the time the third match came around, I'd lost the belt. And it was just sort of the feud ender, if you will. But I think what I'd probably have, in hindsight, and like I say, looking back on it now, I think what I'd have done differently is what I was sort of talking about before, is I'd have maybe reorganised the matches so that the last match was the big blow-off kind of deal. And I think maybe if we'd had the chance to do sort of just a normal one-on-one match where it's, you know, a little bit brawly kind of deal, but not too out there, would have got away with that. And then if we'd done the rematch where it was no holds barred on, you know, put like a no DQ stip on it, that's when you can start getting a little bit crazier and a little bit more. And then again, assuming the war games-esque match, the 3-on-3 still went ahead. I think what I'd have changed there is maybe the result. And again, this is, you know, pure, not just because I was champion, but I'd have probably either kept it on myself. I certainly kept it within that team.
Yeah.
So that when it came to doing, because the match with Renfrew to end the feud was a last man standing match. And I think I'd have probably done that again, but I think putting the belt on the line for it would have been the smart thing to do. And then I could have, you know, I'd have happily dropped it to him, and then, you know, he could have ran with it from there, really. But I think that was sort of the thing that was a little bit off about the feud was, like I say, the matches seemed to be sort of almost out of order, if you will.
Again, I think it was just more like the response from like the fans.
Yeah.
I would just say, whoa. I would just say, they want this. Do you know what I mean? I'd say, I'm going to give them it.
But that was the other thing as well, as we got Renfrew down, and then we got BT down, and we got Divers down, the whole New Age click thing.
Before it was cool, before anyone else done it.
Yep, I'd just like to point that out.
Yeah.
But I think, again, bringing them down, having Bry, MJF, not MJF.
MJH.
MJH.
You wish he was MJF.
Too much Dynamite.
Yeah.
It's all I watch these days.
Yeah.
But anyways, MJH, Assassin, and Marv, obviously they were one team. There was me and the Country Club, and then you had the Knack. I think, again, I'd have probably maybe had more interaction between the three teams before we all got piled into the one match. Because, again, we had these sort of like feuds where they were all sort of interacting with each other, but it was never quite at the same time.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I mean,
obviously, again, to us it does, because we were there.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody else are thinking, what the hell's he going on?
Well, I mean, like, again, if we're being honest, like I didn't realize like how much people are going to get behind it.
Oh yeah.
And I think we're sort of probably like, I booked us into a corner because I was just like, whoa, how am I going to like make this fresh and
different keep
every
it going?
single time?
Yeah.
Like, they nearly killed each other the first one. So I was like, but you know, again, with hindsight and that and experience, like there's different ways to work that feud.
Oh yeah.
Before like you have that big massive blow off match. So we're like sort of coming up to like present day now.
Yeah.
So obviously before the pandemic and things like that, you were basically like doing like this new type of character.
Yeah.
Like Coach Adam Christ.
Yeah. So
working with like the newer guys.
Yeah.
So I mean, is that something you want to carry on doing, or what have you?
See, at this stage, I don't know, to be honest. It's all a bit of a mystery at the minute. Purely because, like, sort of on the one hand, it would be, you know, it would be easy to just sort of go back to doing that and be in the sort of coach role again, because I loved it. It was a lot of fun, and again, a great chance to work with a lot of sort of newer guys and the up and comers and things.
Well, I think that every match you had was like a really, really good match of like your talent and obviously
sort of theirs as well. Yeah. Like I say, it was a lot of fun, and again, I'd love to go back to doing that. Also, at the same time, like, sort of, I still get people saying, "Are you going to put your face paint back on? Are you going to go back to doing sort of your hardcore matches and stuff?" And I think I've no doubt I probably will at some point, just because I'll get bored with my own act, you know,
to get that Hardy Boy pop.
Just to get that nostalgia pop. Aye, exactly. I'm sure I probably will at some point, but I think at the same time it's not going to be the same character or the same gimmick I was doing, because I think simply because a 33-year-old goth is a bit sad. I can't be 33 dressing like Sting.
Yeah. Which Sting?
Nitro 98 Sting. I think it's probably the closest I got.
So I mean, like, obviously, you have got when we do come back, you have got like a title match.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, what are what do you think of your chances in that match? Because obviously Nico is like he's uber talented, you know.
Oh yeah,
he's starting to get all over now. Then you got like obviously Tommy Zane and that, and then Curtis. So I mean, like, do you think you're going to be able to, like, after this long break, of keep up with?
Oh,
with them?
well, I'm optimistic. Like I say, I've tried to keep my fitness up at least whilst we've been in lockdown.
Shout out DDP. We might as well
might
say
as
hello
well,
to DDP.
Might as well throw in a shout out for DDP as well.
Send us free merch, DDP.
Yep. But so anyway, getting over the plugs. So I'm confident. I think it's. I'm looking forward to it. Like you say, sort of Nico, Curtis, Tommy. They've all got their working boots on. I'm sure they're going to be just as anxious as I am to get in and have a good match. Again, it's all a question of sort of what's my attitude going to be when I get there. How are we going to?
I mean, I'm just happy that there's a show in coming up that well, fingers crossed Boris doesn't fuck us over, but I'm just happy there's a show. So I mean, like, thanks for coming down, thanks for talking to us.
Hey, not at all.
Before we go, have you got anything you want to plug, or any like Facebook page, or how do people book you other than me?
I was going to say your best bet was to go through you or through the FTW page at the minute. But I'm happy to plug. Obviously, we've got the FTW show coming up August 13th. Is that the Friday?
Yeah,
it is. It is Friday the 13th.
I did want to call it Freaky Friday, but I got vetoed out.
Yeah, but Friday the 13th of August, fatal 4-way for the FTW title. Myself, Curtis Reed, Tommy Zane, Nico Narciso,
and the debut of the new belt.
Brand
new title belt.
If you haven't seen it, it's a cracker.
So I mean, like I say, thanks for coming.
My pleasure.
I want to thank everyone for watching. Sorry there wasn't a show last week, but again, I don't know how to work computers, and when they don't work for us, I get frustrated and I break them. It's probably why I'm skint at the minute. I've smashed 3 computers in 5 weeks.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So, anyways, we're going to go now. So, thanks for listening. Bye now.